everybody. Today I figure since Santa's coming soon, you've got to make the cookies. So I know that normally people make sugar cookies, but for us we love chocolate chip cookies. This is a little variation I like to make with peanut butter, so it'll be peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Alright, so let's get started. First, always start with a good cup of coffee. Can't live without it. Next, before the preheating oven please show up, we're going to preheat the oven to 375. Then we'll go over what we need. So, let's start with the tools we'll need. You've got your measuring cups, your teaspoons and quarter teaspoons. I keep a good bowl scraper. I don't know what it's called. Spatula? Maybe. I use a small, I know it looks like an ice cream scoop, but it's actually a cookie scoop. Depending on what size you want your cookies, if you want them really big, they do make bigger ones. I use small. They're gonna eat 10 cookies. Either way, this way they eat less sugar. And of course your spatula. Then we have our mixer. Now you can also use a hand mixer if you want. I have a nice KitchenAid stand mixer with the paddle attachment that actually scrapes the bowl as we go. Less work for me, love it. Our baking sheets. I've already put the parchment paper on. You don't have to do the parchment paper. I like it because it's easy cleanup. Plus, I think the cookies, the bottom come out nice and golden and perfect if you use parchment paper. I have done up 2 pans. I like to do 2 pans so that when one's cooking, you can prep the next pan and keep it moving and quick. Now we'll go over ingredients. So, we have a half a cup of peanut butter. Now, if you just want to do regular chocolate chip cookies, just use 3/4 of a cup of butter instead of a half a cup of butter. You have a cup of your light brown sugar, packed, a half a cup of granulated white sugar, 2 eggs. We're going to use a teaspoon of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of salt. Now, this one is my secret trick. So, especially with sugar cookies, you don't want them to puff up because they're usually going to be a Santa Claus or a Christmas tree. I do it for my chocolate chip cookies because I like them to get bigger but not spread out and be crispy and no substance. So I use 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch. That keeps them to keep their shape and just makes it look better. I also have a half a teaspoon of baking soda, 2.5 cups of flour, and 2 cups of chocolate chips. All right, now let's get to the fun part. So we're gonna start by putting our butter, our peanut butter, and our sugars. Can't forget that. In the mixer. And we're gonna let this go on a low speed just until the sugar and the butter is all incorporated and fluffy. All right, and we're about to put in our eggs one by one until they're fully incorporated. Now let's put in our vanilla. And as that mixes up, we're gonna put all of our dry ingredients into one bowl stir it around, and put all of it in at once. All right, give that a good mix. Now we're going to put it in a little bit at a time, but first we need to put on our flour guard. Just clips right on top of the bowl. Make sure we don't get flour all over the kitchen. And then just keep adding a little at a time till it's all incorporated. Now the paddle attachment is great because you don't have to stop and scrape the bowl. You can just let it do its thing. Snap this off. Now you should have a nice thick dough, almost like it's already a dough ball. And for our last part, we're going to add in the chocolate chips and fold them in. Now, depending on if you're making these in the summertime and it's hot out, if it looks like it's not sticking together, you can always put it in the fridge, cool it down, and then it'll be more the right consistency. But then, ooh, the oven's ready. Good, just in time. Okay, so once you get the chocolate chips all nice and incorporated, all right, now that we have the chocolate chips all incorporated, we're gonna grab our cookie sheet. And we're just gonna scoop away, leaving about an inch in between. Now, if you don't have a cookie scoop, you can always use spoons. I just find this the easiest and quickest. And another thing that is great about this recipe, if you just want to make a few cookies for your kids, for your family, you can just make one sheet, put the rest in the Ziploc bag and freeze it. It'll stay in the freezer for a couple months, and then when you decide you want cookies, you don't have to make them. You can just pull it out, let it thaw, pop them in the oven. All right, we got our first sheet done. We'll put those in. And we're gonna set our timer for 10 minutes. And keep scooping. And there we go. Now we just wait. All right, the timer's done on our first batch. Let's see. Oh, okay. So we're gonna take out this pan, and this is why I like to have two pans going. We'll set this one in here. Reset our timer. And then I like to leave the cookies on the cookie sheet just for a couple minutes so they start to cool and solidify. And then we will be moving them onto our cooling racks. All right, let's start moving them. They're very delicate at this stage, but smell delicious. And look at this cleanup, guys. It's going to be amazing. Oops. That one's fine. All right. Now all we have to do is take off the parchment paper. All right. It's time for our second tray to come out of the oven. Like I said, just leave it on the pan for a minute, just to give them that chance to solidify, not crumble apart on you. Also, I like my cookies to be nice and thick, but if you like your chocolate chip cookies to be spread out more and crispier, just leave out the cornstarch. The cornstarch helps them keep that shape. All right. There we go. Beautiful. Nice and golden brown, usually about 10-11 minutes. And there, you just set them on the cooling racks to cool for about an hour, and then we can switch it to the cookie jars. All right, now that our cookies have fully cooled, we're gonna put them in our cookie jar. So my grandmother taught me years ago, if you want your cookies to stay fresh and you always have that heel of your bread, to slide that in the bottom of the cookie jar, and that'll take care of, they'll stay nice and fresh and soft. These aren't gonna last long enough for that, so we're just gonna place them in the cookie jar. I've already had some little minions steal a bunch, so we're down a good 10 cookies already. This isn't a very big cookie jar. All right, cookie jar is stuffed full. All right, if you liked our recipe today, please like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff. Want to see any new recipes, anything in particular, please leave it in the comments. Thank you and have a great day.